Hello, and welcome to StoryFellas, a podcast where we make stories and we break stories. I'm your host, Tommy Antonucci.
And I'm your host, Zach Lovelace.
And this is a podcast where we take an hour of time, we improvise a movie idea and an outline for it. We come up with a title, we come up with a line, and yeah, it's wacky and fun. And if you like movies, you're gonna like this.
Yeah.
Right, Zach?
Yeah, if you like movies or watching things come together in real time, or somewhat real time, I guess, then this is going to be way up your alley. Improv is probably a better way to put it, maybe, because Tommy and I just bounce off of each other and abide by the storytelling rules and laws that exist, and out comes a story. So
yeah, we use random prompts or old scraps of ideas for inspiration. So it's always slightly new, and we are, if our predictions are correct, it is mid-December when you're listening to this.
If our calculations are correct.
We have had our top scientist on the job trying to figure out when this will release. But we are going to take a short break during the holiday season. So the next 2 weeks, Christmas week and New Year's week, there will not be new episodes. So I'm so sorry. But we have a backlog. Go re-listen to some of the greats, and we will be.
I'm not sorry, but
Zach's not sorry. He's happy. He's like Patrick smiling down on you. That little meme.
That's more like the guy with the hands.
Oh yeah, the guy with the hands, the strangler.
Whatever
his name was.
Bikini Bottom Strangler.
Yeah. So we'll be back in January. Still would love to hear from you guys. We got show notes and stuff that you can reach out and send us ideas. But because we're not going to be here for Christmas, we're going to be telling a Christmas story here today.
Woo, woo, woo.
Woo, woo, woo. Before we dive in, Zach, how do you feel about Christmas movies?
That's a good question. As a genre that exists, like has become to exist, I don't like them very much. I don't seek them out. But I understand the love, and there are a few that are interesting and cool. But I don't feel like I can ever really watch them outside of Christmas, which is fine.
Yeah,
like there are movies that have Christmas as an element that I like a lot more. One of my favorites is Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon has Christmas as an element, but not as a forward thing. It's more in the background. So you can watch it during Christmas and be like, yeah, of course, he's got a Christmas tree. But you can't really do that with like Christmas with the Cranks. You know, I mean, if you really want to, I guess you can. Or A Christmas Story.
Your algorithm will go haywire if you're watching Christmas with the Cranks in April.
Yeah, I don't think they don't even let you.
They're like, this movie is blocked until December.
Yeah, they don't let you. That's why you have to buy physical media, is so that they can't stop you from watching Christmas movies in July.
I want to watch Christmas with the Cranks in July.
Christmas with the Cranks.
I agree. I feel like I'm not a curmudgeon. I don't dislike Christmas movies, but I think there is this aspect of there's just a small window to watch them. And I feel like a lot are made for kind of kids too. So it's a little like some of them that were my favorites. I used to love, and maybe still do, the Jim Carrey Grinch. How the Grinch Stole
amazing.
Christmas.
It is such an artifact.
It's great, but I think a few years ago we tried to put it on as adults, and like, I don't know, it's just very like slow at the beginning. Like I lost kind of interest in the grand scheme of things. I think some of the ones for me that still hold up are the Home Alone 1 and 2. I think those ones are fun.
Oh, absolutely.
There is, like you said, there's like movies with Christmas in the background. We watched the Harry Potter series a lot, and that's like always has one beat that's Christmas somewhere in it, usually.
It's good call out.
But things like that. But I also agree. I don't even really know why. Like maybe it's just because a lot of Christmas movies are they've been done, you know? It's always like similar in tone.
I mean, you have a lot of similar themes are family and, you know, the true meaning of Christmas, which is a whole other podcast. So I think it has been like overly
Christmas
fellas. Christmas fellas here. But no, the true meaning of Christmas is not just to, you know, love each other and I mean, those aren't bad things. They just become very sentimental. And so, like, I think the commercialization of it, it's literally a commercial movie, is kind of what's
that's fair. I did watch a year or two ago the animated Claws. Have you seen that one?
I have heard good things.
It's cool. The animation style's cool. And like, again, it's still sentimental, but it's just a unique spin. It's like a mailman goes to some like Arctic town that everyone's like hates each other. And he kind of creates the fiction of Santa Claus, but like in doing so, he accidentally like he does it for selfish reasons, but then he accidentally like makes people better. And then like becomes attached to the town. It's kind of it's sweet and unique. I liked it. I thought it was a cool little story.
I just popped up on my radar briefly, and I haven't seen it or anything, so maybe I'll check it out this year.
Yeah, I think I'm always just a sucker for unique animation styles too. Like I want to see something that looks different than other things.
Yeah, totally. Not just like the Pixar house style that has become, the style of the day. Basically, I hate it.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's tell a story we love then, man.
That's true. Yeah.
I need you to roll a 10-sided die for me.
All right, let's see. Oh, I'm doing it right now. Whoa, that was a 4-sided die, not the one I wanted, but I did roll a 9.
You rolled a 9 on a 4-sided die?
Yeah. No, I really rolled a 10-sided.
Okay, this actually sounds cool. This sounds like something that we would be interested in, which is cool.
Alrighty.
The prompt is: a detective investigates a series of mysterious disappearances linked to a rare and valuable Christmas ornament.
Okay, cool. It does sound
that's cool. That also kind of feels like it fits. Clearly, it's a Christmas ornament. I think it's a bit more about Christmas than like it being in the background.
Yeah.
But I also think that it, I don't know, the detective story is interesting. And we've told some detective stories in the past, like Fluke.
Yeah, that's right. So if you want to go back and listen to those episodes, if you were inspired, you true crime heads out there.
Yep. Your true crime heads, this is fake crime.
Yeah. That's true. I hope you fake crime heads.
It's a morning episode. It's a morning episode. We're trying, folks.
It's a Christmas morning episode, okay?
It's a Christmas morning. I woke up for presents and I didn't see them because we're living in the past.
I 4 a.m. to get on a podcast.
I'm not going to make us roll for a genre because it's a Christmas movie, so I think it just has to stick with that genre. So let's start brainstorming. This detective investigates a series of mysterious disappearances linked to a rare and valuable Christmas ornament.
We got to figure out the ornament because the ornament will tell you everything else. It seems to be
part of me wants, like, if it was like a super obnoxious, like giant Elvis shaped ornament or something, like it was real gaudy. Like it's not. He's like, this isn't even like. Why do people like this? Like that's funny to me, but I think it would.
I was thinking to make it valuable, it would need to seem old, and so to go old, I went like primitive. So it's made out of like teeth and stuff.
Oh, this is the first Christmas ornament.
Yeah, it's like, really?
Really?
Where on like Cannibal Island?
Yeah, and they're like, this looks like it's worshiping death. They're like, no. This is all they had. They only had teeth.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be something like that. I think that's interesting too, because it feels like I think it makes sense to our detective is the Scrooge of this movie. I think.
Yeah, he's the cynic. He's been cynical because he sees dead bodies all the time. I think anybody would be.
Yeah, I don't think. Oh boy, Christmas is going to change his mood.
Well, yeah, he might even say like, he's like smoking. He's just like, more people die on Christmas than any other day of the year. He says that.
Like to the people to give the tour, because I feel like
it's a good line. That's a good line.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the people he interacts with are Whoville-esque. They're like overly saturated with Christmas, especially I picture this town. It's probably a city. It could even be like New York, like Rockefeller, like the Rockefeller tree or something. Or like a fictionalized version of that in whatever this city is.
You could put it on its head, and it is like Whoville. It literally is Whoville.
Okay.
and or something to that degree. You could
Yeah.
enter the Christmas realm, Nightmare
Yeah.
Before Christmas style type thing, and
I
this
think you can
detective
keep it semi-realistic just by saying like this town, like for the last decade, has won the most festive Christmas town of the country. Yeah,
That's
like,
cool. Yeah.
So it's like real. It's not like fictionalized, like they're elves, but they're just like this town goes so hard for Christmas.
Yeah.
and like he just lives here, and he's like 11 months out of the year it's fine, and then we get here to December.
I just brace myself for December. My drinking habits really kick in.
I just try to I just try to get lost in my work and double down on the murders.
Yeah.
That is also funny if there's a lot of murders in this town. Like it's like a kind of a seedy town, but then
Yeah.
December is like really like people are positive, optimistic. This might not be the way this is going might not be a super kid friendly episode, y'all, but we'll see. See
Yeah,
how
I don't know.
this
I mean,
guy goes.
It just depends on. Okay, so these people are going missing. I'm assuming because they are either buying the ornament, stealing it, or finding it. Right? Like, how is it changing hands? How is it changing ownership? It's all linked, or maybe it's just one ornament. We could have maybe the town tree, where they have, hundreds of ornaments. And it's huge, a huge tree. And this is one that's been in the town's history for a long time.
Yes, I agree. I think it's stolen off the tree. Like maybe there's even some light security that gets knocked out. They're like, someone stole the oldest ornament.
Yeah.
I think we can come back and fill in what that looks like. I've got a crazy idea,
Okay.
and you can tell me what you think about it. Because this kind of takes it a bit more into the absurd, where he's on the case of trying to hunt this down, and early on, like he's on a stakeout, and like there's like some thugs or something up here, or I don't know, and he's like coming around, and like he hears something, and he like turns the corner with his pistol, and they're standing with a candy cane gun is Santa, who's also trying to crack the case for this town.
Oh, interesting.
And then you have basically a buddy cop movie where he's like, who are you really? Like it's literally the real Santa Claus, but he's like kind of detective-esque too.
Yeah.
He's like, couldn't let my favorite town lose their favorite ornament, and I think that would be an interesting dynamic. But
That is an interesting
it does
dynamic.
take it absurd.
I think it does take it absurd, and that's fine. I don't mind absurd. It's funny because yesterday I was watching a video essay review of Red One.
Dude, I've been seeing the thumbnails for those things, and people are complaining about that movie. For those who don't know, it's like The Rock's new, or the Rock is in this Christmas movie, and I think maybe Kevin Hart, is he in it too?
No, it's Chris Evans. There are a bunch of people in it, but
Yeah.
I don't think Kevin Hart is in it. Or if he is, he's not like physically in it. He might have lent his voice or something. But
Yeah. So without major spoilers for someone who might be wanting to see it, like what's the big critique of this movie?
so the plot of that movie of Red One is that there's like an agency that exists for magical creatures that Santa runs or is part of, and Santa goes missing. He gets kidnapped by some group of dissidents, and Santa's number one security guy, The Rock, teams up with some sort of Chris Evans character who is maybe like a real cop or something. I can't remember. But then they just go hunting for Santa, and they encounter all sorts of other magical creatures and whatnot. But the critique is that it's lifeless, it's soulless. Oh, man, sorry.
Morning episode, y'all.
Morning episode.
Zach couldn't get his coffee this morning, so he does got the juice.
It was just milk.
He's just drinking milk like
That's
like
very
Santa.
Christmassy. Yeah,
It
that's
is very Christmassy.
but yeah, that it's very soulless. The Red One is a soulless film, is the critique, and so it has no charm or real like Christmas perspective. It's like Christmas as a business. And Christmas as like a government agency is basically how it feels. And so you understand like gimmick wise why that movie exists, but it looks flat. The one guy I was watching said that it was originally meant for an Amazon streaming thing. But I guess after The Rock saw Oppenheimer, like he wanted it to be released in theaters, and so got it pushed to do so. So it feels like it's in this weird middle ground where it's like not good enough to be in theaters, but not meant for streaming.
That's weird.
So that's summed up.
So are you saying that including Santa as a character would push it into this realm, you feel like?
Yeah. And like, especially since he's supposed to be more, I mean, he could be magical. And he probably is in Red 1 as well. That doesn't mean anything. Our Santa can be totally different, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm wary, like literally having 12 hours ago, probably watching that, just being like, oh,
okay.
I don't know.
Well, I'm fine with that. And I feel like it could break the movie, but here's the alternates of this. Cause I do think pairing him with someone who has a lot of Christmas spirit is kind of somewhat key to this, like someone he's close to that's not just the townspeople. So whether it's an elf that's doing the same thing, or if we don't want it magical, it's just some like 12-year-old kid or something, or 10-year-old kid that like keeps like riding his bike out of town, and he's like, I need to help too. Santa's gonna be so mad. And he's like, dude, Santa's not real. And just like the kid, he can't shake this kid, but then the kid proves to be like helpful in some ways.
Yeah, I do think I like that. I like it being more mundane, aka like less magical. And saving the magic for a very specific moment. Because that's basically, by making magic the way that things work, it makes magic less magical, you know? I say that, and then Harry Potter is full of magic. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But this story, I like it being a detective. It's either Santa needs to be the detective. So like Santa comes to town, which is possible. And he's like, oh yeah, that was a shrunken head ornament that was given to me as a gift. And it's like been stolen. Oh, that thing was real? I don't know.
I think we could do that, but I feel like Santa doesn't need, like, I feel like this detective easily, like, you can paint development on him, you know? Like, it makes sense to develop him. And I also think it adds conflict because he's at odds with the Christmas spirit, which is like a lot of Christmas movies follow that, but it's because it works. It's like you got a curmudgeon-y guy who somehow learns to connect with people.
I got it. So,
oh boy.
I think, well, just like in a very basic sense, we subvert that expectation, right? That he's that he learns his lesson and embraces the Christmas spirit and everything. He doesn't. That's it. He just doesn't. Which I think is actually really funny. But also because I think this character, which we should probably give him a name, you know, he's our detective.
Detective Wayne.
Detective Wayne is fine. Yeah. Like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, his name's Bruce Wayne. He's the world's greatest detective.
Not like Batman. Yeah. That's funny.
Let's give him a first name. Detective something Wayne.
Let's go with Sam.
Sam Wayne. That's good. I like that. Detective Sam Wayne. And then I like there being in my head, do you remember the teacher from Fairly Odd Parents, or the principal, the like tall red? No, like the lady, like with the tall redhead, like her.
Oh, tall redhead, like the
principal
from Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah.
Man, it's not ringing a bell.
Oh, okay. She was like and she would make fun of Crocker. Basically, she was there like she had a giant mace and stuff. But I don't know, just like this kind of like overly bubbly woman who's like maybe in charge of the town. She leads the town decorating. Like she's like the headpiece of like who hires him, you know? Like
that makes
she's
sense.
not there a lot, but I think she is there. She's kind of like the person that he's reporting to in a sense to solve this case. Because I think her overly bubbly personality is a funny contrast.
I like that a lot. Yeah, because then she could say like evil things, you know, she could say, or like dark things in contrast to her personality, you know. So she's like, oh, I love eggnog or whatever. And then turns and it's just like, and if we don't get this case figured out, then you, I can't even say what I want.
I'm gonna nog your egg.
Let's just say there's a part of your anatomy that I will put on a jar on my desk.
Yeah, she's like mafia-esque, but really positive. That's really funny. Yeah, let's give her. I'm gonna just call her like Mrs.
Mayer, and her last name is Mayer.
Okay, so is she the mayor? Like, I think that is
works.
funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, Mrs. Mayor. Your last name's yeah, Hey, Mrs. Mayor. Mayor, no, Mayor. We made that joke this weekend of someone
did.
named Mayor, like Mayor. Just call me Mrs. Mayor. Yep, that's funny.
Mayer's too formal. That's what she thinks. She thinks Mayer's too formal. Even though that's her
Okay,
name.
let's. There's a few more characters. I feel like if we flesh out a few more characters, then it helps us tell the story.
Yeah.
I feel like his sidekick, whether that's like a kid,
His actual partner.
maybe, yeah, his partner, because it's like, have you seen The Ref before?
No.
The Ref is a Christmas movie that's like no one knows about with what is not Chevy Chase? What Kev? He got canceled from House of Cards. What's his name?
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. It's like an old Kevin Spacey movie where this cat burglar breaks into their house and like holds him and his wife hostage, but they're like on the verge of divorce.
Oh, that's funny.
And like, so they're like fighting each other the whole time. And he's like, well, he's the cat burglar, but he's also during Christmas. And he's like, guys, what I'm hearing is like, and he's kind of like the guy between them. And then like this Christmas party comes and he has to pretend he's the uncle. It's just this like, it's very Home Alone-esque. It's like, so he's like there and this kid befriends him and everyone's like, oh, you're the uncle. But he's also at the same time trying to like manage the parents fighting so he can like get out of town. I feel like that's what I'm being drawn to. It's like, so like this kid is like putting a seedy detective with this like innocent wide-eyed kid. Like that just works too. That works in Up. That works in like, it's not like someone who does not want the kid there, but then the kid is good for them and actually helpful to them.
We would need a reason for them to be stuck together, so that they could continually interact and the conflict could come to the surface between their interactions. So
Yeah.
I don't know what. I'm trying to think about how and why that would work. Maybe it's all in a day, so you could kind of crunch down the timeline, which would be kind of crazy, but it could work. I mean, maybe it's his kid, and he literally can't,
like he has to watch the kid. He's like, I'm on a case. He's divorced. And then they're like, he hasn't spent a Christmas with you in years.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's interesting because that actually adds an extra level of dynamic and like semi-distance.
The conflict is at that point way more intense because it's between a father and a son. And I like that those stories are good and they resonate with me, and I think for a lot of people. So cool core relationship that has unresolved feelings. That's what we're going to get to the end.
Yep.
Oh, dude, the ending I have in mind now is much sadder.
I think we have to keep in the vein of a Christmas movie. I don't think we can make it just sad. Like, I think it's got to have some like hopefulness at the end.
Yeah, hope and redemption. I think those are great. And I think if for Sam specifically, but I think, I don't want him, not like I was saying before, like that he doesn't change. I think he should change.
Yeah.
But the ending I had was that he died. So
Sam does?
Yeah, that he died before he could change. This is before we introduced his son being with him, so which would be traumatic, obviously. But maybe could still work. So anyway, I was just working through that in my head.
Yeah, we can pin that. It's going to be a heavy Christmas movie, but it can still end with hope. Like Jack Frost when the dad turns into a snowman. I'm pretty sure he dies at the end.
Yeah, he just kind of melts away.
Yep. How about Kyle? Kyle Wayne is the son.
I like that. Yeah.
Cool. How old is Kyle?
Why couldn't you name me Bruce?
Is he 10? Is he like 10?
Yeah, he could be.
Or he could be kind of teenagery, which could be like 15 or something. I don't know. That's kind of.
That's true.
I think both
Feels
can
like
be
the
funny.
Holdovers in a nice way. That was a really great movie from last year. Definitely a Christmas movie. Probably will watch it again this year. So this is my plug for The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti.
The Holdover is actually a great Christmas movie, and it is a little rougher around the edges too. So
Yeah, that's
like
kind of where I'm at. Is that we can add some sort of magical element to it, the ornament or something. And I think imagine maybe a buddy cop holdovers with a little bit of magic. I think that's cool.
I like that. Let's say, I don't know. I feel like if Kyle is 10, then he's kind of his character is going to be a bit more like, oh, I don't know how to relate to my dad. I'm going to be kind of awkward and until I'm excited about something, which I think is cool and cute. If he's like a late teenager, then he's just going to be antagonistic to the dad.
He's also cynical.
Yeah, like I feel,
or he's not. We could literally make him whatever. I think it just makes sense for him. You typically see those characters be cynical, so it actually could be a nice turn on its head, where it's like the teenager is the, he could be like a theater kid or something, where he has like a love of pageantry and stuff. I think imagine if Will Ferrell from Elf was 15 years old.
Okay. Okay, that's funny. Yeah. Let's make him 15.
A little more agency,
Yeah. He has a bit more agency. He's like knows a little bit about driving. But he's also very just optimistic. He's not like a classic, like, oh, life is glum. Like here's the big positive kid.
Yeah. Here's the big thing. It's a choice to be at that point hopeful and kind of goofy and sweet, as opposed to you have when he's like a younger teenager, he's just sour. Or that other type of teenager is just sour, almost uncontrollable with his emotions and everything. So we're already having a contrast with his dad. But then as a kid, you're kind of just hopeful and naive. But he's not naive would be the thing.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think it'd be cool if there was like a little line, like not to make this on its face a Christian movie or something, but like when the Dark Night of the Soul is just like, when me and mom go to church, we pray for you. It's like, it started, like she taught me like when I was little, but like I do it sincerely now. Like it's me doing it, like, cause I know things are hard here for you. Yeah. Like, I think that's like, and like, we don't dwell on that beat. We don't like be like, now get saved. But like, I think that's a nice note from like it shows maturity of a 15-year-old kid too. And it kind of makes him say, he's like, oh, you're thinking about me? Like, even if he doesn't believe, like, he's like, wow, you're like actively thinking and worried about me when I'm not around. Agreed. I think that's kind of cool.
That's very good. And I like that line. Write that down. The one question I have is if he's older, why he couldn't just stay by himself? Why does he have to be with his dad all day?
I think we could give him a desire to be with his dad, like his dad's like, hey, stay here. I'm going to go do this. Like he like sets him up. He's like, here's some candy. He's like, and like a pizza. And he's like, here, you can watch Christmas movies. I've got to go out tonight. And then he just follows him out or something. Or maybe he helps him out of the first jam. I really want a scene where like he's in a skirmish with some sort of criminal, because that's the other people we need to fill in a little bit, the criminals, where he's like drops his like revolver and then he's like wrestling the guy and he's like, and Kyle shows up. Kyle's like, boom, boom, just like, like doesn't kill the guy, but is like shooting around and scares the guy off.
I was imagining him killing him and it was really funny.
Or yeah. And then he's like, we're leaning,
just killed that guy.
We're leaning more into comedy, which is fine. We could do that. I think this is the same bit in Lousy where he's like, we have that bit where he's like, go to my locker in the back tent. I have a gun with a hair trigger on it, telling like a kid, like something about that, like this young person, like you have to grab the gun. In an absurd environment is funny. Yeah.
It is very funny. And then or just like out of the blue for him to already have grabbed the gun and to have killed the perp.
I feel like this movie has natural knobs that you can dial, because you could dial it one way and it's like he's using a gun to save his dad, and you can dial another way and it's all Home Alone antics. Like he throws a can of paint and then it like woohoo and like knocks someone out and
kills them, because that definitely would kill them.
He's like, yeah, Dad, I knocked him out for you. And then like he runs off and the dad, and then Wayne looks down and he's like, no, he's dead. Like to himself. Like,
oh man.
Oh man.
It's like the guy's brains are falling out and he's like, oh my. and the kid is just like, I knocked him out, Dad. It's like, you knocked them out. You knocked his brains out.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's one of those things that, like, if this all took place in a night, maybe this all happening like Christmas Eve night. Like, I've got to get this ornament back before when it's Christmas. People need to wake up to this ornament, or the mayor's going to put me in a jar.
Why would she do that, Dad?
So I think he's like, Mayor seems so nice. He's like, you don't know Mayor.
Yeah, Mayor is an ice queen. But yeah, I think it just solves an easy problem if he's young enough where he has to take the kid around, or maybe
make him
like, you could make him like 10.
something.
Yeah, you could scale him back down. I know, audience, we've gone back and forth on that, but I do think either of those things work. I don't like him being 10 though. I like him being like 15, 16.
Yeah, I think he can be 15. I think if this was all taking place on one night, and he comes and immediately helps his dad, like, literally, like, if you were the detective and you found the criminals, you're like, oh shoot, here they are. But then your kid was there, I don't know, like, to some degree, you don't want to leave and lose track of the criminals. You're like, I need to find these guys tonight.
I think
and I also think if the kid helps him immediately and, like, gets him out of a jam, then it kind of alleviates. He's like, oh wow, okay, just stay close.
Yeah, I think he. When the kid is dropped off, the mom says, like, he's got special needs. And I don't mean like full bore, like, obviously there's a scale, but they just say, like, he shouldn't be left alone. Like, he has, like, I know, severe ADHD, whatever it is. Turns out none of that is true. It's just the mom has, gotten him, she's like overly mothered him. And so that's the kid's arc. Kyle's arc is to stop being naive or positive, but be realistic about something. Be realistic and maybe stop pretending, even like if he was pretending to be that way, so his mom would treat him. I don't know. There's a nice little arc there that could work.
I've seen movies like that where I like that the kid is overprotected by the mom, and the kid knows it. And like comes to the dad, and that's something that he kind of likes about the dad, is that the dad's like underprotective of him, like takes him. I can see, like, he's at a bar with the kid and he's drinking a beer, and he's like, did you want to try? And the kid doesn't like it. Like, he's like, oh, and he's like, yeah, do you want a Coke instead? No, let me get you a Coke. And like, just like, but he's willing to do these, like, he's less careful and precious with him. But then the kid loves that. Because he doesn't get that at home. Yeah,
there's the risk aspect of, like, really coming into your own. And this is actually a classic StoryFellas trope that we have just, like, backed into, of the remasculator plot. So the kid is like a goofy, over the top, again, Will Ferrell-esque elf. Where he needs to learn to be. Reality is tough. So it's like they both they cross paths thematically. What's his face? Kyle, the kid, stops taking reality for granted in terms of being a good thing, and like a wholesome thing. And then the dad he changes because he stops taking reality for granted for being gritty and cynical, and nothing ever good happens. That you could make the central point a miracle of some kind, a Christmas miracle, whatever it might be. Which I have some ideas. But I think we need to get into our bad guys / the actual ornament.
Yes.
And like what that looks like. I think it's probably as old as the town. Could be cool to play with some of the town history, and Mayor could give you some of this town history in the very beginning during a like a tour at their little Capitol building or their town hall, that she also serves as a tour guide or whatever, which would be kind of funny. But, there's maybe a belt buckle or something like that, or a badge, sheriff's badge, or like a star or whatever. And the sheriff of the town, when it was originally started, there was a really tough gang there. And the leader of the gang like challenged the mayor to a shootout, and he shot the mayor, and the star like has a hole in it from the bullet, but he survived and was able to kill the bad guy. I know I'm mixing some of the genres. We start off kind of in a Western-y type thing, but that's because we're in America, and that's what it would have been when it was founded. And so then the star is like, it has an emblematic thing to it, that it's self-sacrifice and a miracle wrapped up in it.
It's also symbolizes resilience, which I think I like that in a town that celebrates Christmas hard, but also has a criminal scene. Clearly there's a criminal scene.
It's all
so
set
it's
up.
like, it's symbolic of like, this town's not the easiest town to live in, but the people here are strong, and Christmas is when we get together. And maybe that's why they take Christmas so seriously. Yeah,
that's true. I like that a lot. Alternatively, we could make it again the teeth and bone type thing. Like, we don't know. It has more of like a native magic to it or something like that. Dark magic, maybe. I think
that one takes it a little absurd because it's like way back, and it's just like it feels barbaric. Where I can picture like a steampunky looking big ornament that has the sheriff's badge. Like,
maybe the badge was melted into it down. Yeah, exactly. Like, or welded onto it or whatever. So it is like a bigger. It could just be like the star with the ring around it, so that it could be hung up. Pretty simple, pretty ugly. I also the thing with it being some other item, like even the first mayor's brooch or whatever, like or cufflink, or first mayor's the skull of the first mayor.
This, like all the mayors have added to this ornament. They're like mayor's she's like, I had a gold tooth that I melted down and added to the ornament. So then you get your teeth in there.
Yeah, that's true. So it's just some sort of monstrosity. I do think that I kind of want that though. Like, I know we just went through the whole Western thing, but if it was like this dark magic item that got used, that would just be so cool. And it's like, nobody ever knew that there was a skull in there. Like, it just like opens up. It's got like bullets for teeth and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, like it's inside. Like, it looks kind of like a normal ornament, but it's inside. It opens and there's like all these like dark, bad materials. I
think it being literally the skull of the first mayor is very funny. And maybe it's a family heirloom. So the mayor, obviously she lost it, but you think it's just this big thing, and it's actually, oh no, it's a, like, it doesn't have to have dark powers, although that would be cool. But I like the idea of, I think it could be that. It could just be weird like that, because we're establishing the mayor is kind of weird and dark in a comedic sense. Like, the mayor's really dark. And I think the criminals, the head, like, I don't think we need to name all the thugs. There's thugs, and then there's the main guy, whoever we name him. And I think if this thing doesn't sound like it's actually worth that much, maybe he's going to ransom it, but maybe he just steals it because represent leverage. Like, or just like as like it Joker-esque, like, hey, this thing represents the resilience of the town, and I want to give the town a message that they're not going to best us, like that's why he takes it. That's
not
fair.
For like monetary gain.
From the criminal perspective, he's like taking the spirit of the town.
Yep. So we can name that main bad guy, because that's the main antagonist that they have to deal with.
I think Dugan.
Dugan. How do you spell Dugan?
Doogan.
Dugan, the master. I'm gonna call him the mastermind criminal.
Works for me.
Dugan is like, like maybe he feels like he's a bigger deal than he is, but he's not that big of a deal. And he's got his cronies, and then they keep trying to track him, the ornament down. Him and his son are kind of slowly bonding more over this, because the son's not being babied, and he realizes like, hey, this kid's like pretty cool. Maybe he just thought of him as like this theater kid that I really think is funny. I don't know. This might be a stretch of a scene, but
then, we have to wear disguises.
Yeah, well, that would be funny. But I was thinking there could be a scene where they overhear the thugs. They're like, hey, did you hear the boss's son is going to be coming? Like he's stuck with his son this Christmas and stuff like that. And then at some point, because the kid's like a theater kid. Well, no, I was gonna. Well, maybe later. Like since he's the theater kid, like they stumble across him like at the pier. So they're like, "Hey, who are you?" And then they only see Kyle, and then Kyle's like acts like real authoritative. He's like, "I'm Dugan's son," and they're like, sorry." And then like he's kind of running the show while like Dugan and his son are not around, and then like Dugan shows up. He's like, and then like I don't know because it shows like the kid's skill also, which is funny. And then they're like playing games with him. They're like doing Christmas games. And then Dugan walks in. He's like, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're playing with your son. He's like, I don't know who that is.
That's not my kid.
Shoot him. Kid. And he's like, and then like he just like runs off. I think that's a funny scene.
That is. Because the dad
he gets close to.
Well, I think the dad has probably been captured at that point. And Kyle has been like trying to get in there. And save his dad. And then he goes undercover as the mob boss's son.
I'm Dugan Jr.
How would they not know that that's Dugan's kid? I guess they haven't met him.
Well, I think that's the thing. Like they overhear. It's like an exposition-y thing where they hear him. They're like, have you met him? No, I've never met him before, but I be on your toes. Like we got to be nice to this kid.
I hear he's a real piece of work.
Yeah. And then Kyle just runs with it. I think that's funny. And then, he helps his dad out.
He uses a skill of his, to get out.
Yes. And then, I feel like we have these scenes. It all takes place in a night, maybe. So they're on the pursuit. They keep finding more clues. This is clearly like a semi-mystery, like a light level mystery that you would have to take more time to write the beats of like how they keep finding.
Yeah, the people that go missing are previous... Or maybe they're part of like the tree decorating team or something. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think about the different people in town that go missing. Somebody that would, a city councilman, I think that works.
It could be they go missing, but then the people think they're kidnapped, but then it turns out like they're part of the criminal thing. Very,
that's actually what I was thinking. Was that that it was a criminal, or sorry, a city councilman, a big lawyer who has like his name all over the town on the benches and stuff. Maybe that's the first like guy that goes missing. Just like somebody that you could continually reference by seeing his face on like a park bench and stuff. That's kind of funny. And then the chief of police. So these aren't like insubstantial people. Like these are a pretty big deal. And that's why there's pressure to find them, right? And it would have to happen a couple of days before Christmas because people, I feel like, have to be missing for a certain amount of time before people go looking for them, like formally go looking for them.
Yeah, so maybe this takes place over a couple of days. Maybe that makes sense that
or
it's leading up and they're on the case.
Or we focus on one murder as opposed to it being a bunch of missing people. That way it's like he's investigating clues related to this one murder. And that can be either the city councilman, which I think works perfectly fine, or even like another police officer, some person that would make, the best person would be Sam's partner. Like Sam's partner gets murdered.
Oh, like his partner gets murdered?
Yeah.
I think that could work because then that puts him in a glum state. And also, he's in need of a partner, which his son is kind of filling for this case a little bit.
Exactly. So I think that's a good idea. And then he finds out his partner was crooked.
Yeah. I think him having a friend who's like not the chief of police, but like a cop is helpful. Like a good, like a buddy that's like doesn't work directly with him, but they like meet
a retired
up sometimes.
Cop, like just, that's a retired guy that like runs the
basically
shooting range.
They need a contact that if the chief of police is corrupt, like I imagine a date night-esque, like all the cops swarm in at the end. That's the big insight. And if the chief of police is there, like someone who has like authority to also be like, he's like, you're going away for a long time, like that they see that he's corrupt and actually arrest him. And I feel like there could be like a shootout. Like I feel like there's this thing where like the kid splits on his bike or something. He's like, you have to go get help or something. And then he goes and finds the cop friend or the retired guy. And he's like, and then all the police come and catch all the corrupt guys in the warehouse or wherever.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
But maybe Sam gets shot.
I love the idea of, yes, I think Sam gets shot at some point. I love the idea that all the cops, like literally almost all of them, are at one party. It's like the precinct party. And so
That's funny.
Kyle shows up and he's like, help, I need help, and they all just like turn and look. And they all come to the rescue. Like
right.
The cops are all kind of like one character almost.
Yep.
I think that would be great.
That's actually really funny where they're all just looking and then just like hundreds of cop cars are flying down the street. Yeah. There's so much. He's just like in the passenger seat of one. Yeah, I like that. And then I think Sam somehow, maybe he doesn't get shot until they get back, but like he sacrifices himself for his son. Mm-hmm. And I'm personally, since it's a Christmas movie, not like, I feel like he makes a recovery, but like he does make a big, like, oh, I'm going to protect my son. I really care about him. And then like we flash forward to the Christmas day and he's like bandaged up or something.
I love that. I think that's totally fine. I thought about him losing a limb could also be something that would give you like a real sense of, okay, we passed through the fire. We earned, the characters earned this. Or even still being in a wheelchair after being shot. Like he's not like, he's just like, oh, it was just a flesh wound. I'm totally fine. But he's actually like legit.
Yeah. I feel like he's pretty, he's legit hurt. Like I'm not saying like paralyzed permanently, but like maybe the son's helping push him around, or one of the cop friends and the son's with him. And
I think that works. I do think that the bad guy, the mayor, Miss Mayor, is the big bad. So Dugan probably gets killed by Sam.
Okay.
Or even Miss Mayor kills Dugan to cover her tracks. Mm-hmm. And at the end, Miss Mayor is the one who shoots Sam, and they're out by the big tree. I know there's a couple of things. Like, what do you do with the big Christmas tree after Christmas? You burn it, right?
It's probably put in like the city storage somewhere.
Well, that's if it wasn't real. If it was a real tree, like a big one that they had shipped in or whatever. Because I want the tree to fall on Miss Mayor. I think that's pretty funny.
Oh, I like that. It's very Hook-esque, like the crocodile falling on Hook.
Oh, yeah. I like that. It's a good call out. Didn't do that on purpose. But I like that it's like held up by cables so it doesn't blow around. Like giant trees are basically rooted in, and it would be heavy enough to kill you. But also, if there was another way to kill her, I think that's pretty straightforward, though.
I like it because like she has the upper hand, and maybe like the kid cuts loose a cable and it's like slowly like chunk, 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 and she's like above Sam, or she's gonna like shoot him, and then she like looks up and just like gets crushed by this massive tree. I think that's cool, and it's also
I like that it catches on fire.
Oh gosh,
that's
a cool set piece. Like
and she's like it's when her hellish character is coming out, and so she's like walking around the tree after maybe she's shot Sam in the leg or something, so he's just like and he's turned. I mean, they'd have to be far enough away, but just it would be really cool, like this blazing inferno behind them. And I mean, Sam would have to get away fast enough somehow. So maybe not shot.
Or like she's gloating, she's monologuing. The big ornament that she wants. Maybe there's something valuable hidden inside the ornament. That's why she's trying to steal it away or something.
Yeah, not just.
And then it still turns out there's just bones and teeth inside of here.
That's my daddy.
But
what actually would be she kind of an interesting thematic connection that it's the father-child relationship at that point. My father taught me everything I needed to know, including the evil stuff. Like her father was also mayor and was like super corrupt.
Yeah, I think there you could have a narrative thing where she's standing over him. She walks away to pick up the ornament or something like that. And then she's like far enough away and like holding the gun up, and then the tree like falls on her and the ornament rolls out. Or she drops it as she sees that the tree's falling on her. I think that's cool. I think that the Christmas overcame her, in a sense.
Exactly.
The spirit
it crushed
of Christmas
her.
beat her out in the end.
I like that. I also think that she maybe thought she had killed Dugan somehow in some fashion, maybe sent his car over a bridge or something, and he actually comes back soaking wet, and he just sees Sam standing triumphantly, and so he shoots him. It's this, or maybe Sam bested him in battle, and he comes back and Dugan shoots him. Doesn't have to have been double crossed or anything, but I like the idea that the old cop, like the retired cop friend, and is the one that shoots Dugan, and kills him. I just think that's a nice cross there.
Well, then let's maybe retract Dugan's kid being there, because I feel like it feels a little heavy to have his kid just like watch his dad get shot.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know.
That's true, because also we were gonna have Kevin. We're gonna have Kyle and Dugan's kid fight at one point.
Yeah, which could be funny. Yeah, just like two 15-year-olds like fighting and wrestling each other.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe they just catch Dugan. They don't.
Yeah, let's just have him catch, because it feels like even if he's the bad guy's son, like it feels a little heavy to just be like watch your dad get mowed down by the cop.
Yeah, and I could see a montage.
Yeah, they just get
at
caught.
the end of a montage-esque whatever, of like moments where everybody's with who they should be with on Christmas, and you have like Dugan and his son who got arrested are in a jail cell together.
But then they're like, he's like comforting. It's like, but it's also slightly sweet. Like the kid's a little bummed out, but then Dugan's like rubbing his shoulder, like, oh, it's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then, I like that. We see all the families and the sons with everybody, and it's actual Christmas Day, and people like bring out smaller Christmas trees. They don't have the big one, but they're like all celebrating. Again, Grinch Stole Christmas. They're still celebrating in spite of the
the tree being
crazy
destroyed,
stuff that's happened.
And the mayor being killed, and I think that's cool. That's fun.
I like it. I think it's a cool, sweet ending.
Yeah, and I think Sam and Kyle have a good dynamic. You could throw them into any scene because they're so different. They're going to react so differently to things. But then when they start working together, I think is good. One thing I wanted to add a setup and a payoff to is when Kyle is undercover as Dugan's son. That earlier on, Kyle was telling Sam about something that he doesn't like doing, or like vehemently opposes, or something to that degree. Something he doesn't like eating, whatever it is, and then he has to do that thing undercover. Or like it could be something as silly as like, I hate video games. Like kids my age, they play nothing but violent video games and blah, 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 blah. And it's like Dugan's thugs are like, you want to play, Call of Duty or whatever. And so he's like having to sit there. That's a really dumb version of it, but something to that degree. Yeah. Where he has to. The violence makes him nauseous. Yeah. That'd be funny. That would be. It's also funny to have the violence not make him nauseous. Like that not being the thing that hangs him up, because at some point him fighting Dugan's son is a good idea. Maybe
he actually loves it. He gets really into Call of Duty with the thugs. He's like, yeah.
Or he's like weak.
Hey, Dugan Jr., you're really good at this game.
That he's like been a weakling, and he's like with these Dugan's thugs, and they're teaching him how to box or something, like in a boxing gym where they have Sam held hostage, and they're like, oh yeah. And he's like, don't you fight a little? And he's like, yeah, I do. Because Dugan's son is a boxer. Or like training to be one or whatever. And so then he has to like pretend to be a boxer. I think that's pretty cool.
That is cool. I like it. I thought it'd be really funny. This doesn't fit. This is an alt version. But at the end, where we said like it was like the ornament was filled with all this dark material, they're like, the real Santa Claus, we saved this ornament for you. And he's like, this is corrupt with dark magic. And he just destroys it. He's like, anyway, Merry Christmas. And just like teleports away.
See ya.
but that's not actually in the movie. But I like it, man. I feel like it's got some good beats. It's fun. It's very unique. It's very our flavor of a Christmas movie, you know?
Yeah. And we have a little bit of a MacGuffin with the ornament. You know, you could do like a North by Northwest thing where it's like, it's full of pictures or something like that, like that they used to blackmail people. But you never know what they are like outside of that. You know, it's just been a way for them to launder things or whatever. Like it's just like a drop. It's a drop. You put drugs in there, you put whatever. So that's actually kind of interesting. That the drop would be an ornament or maybe a whole bunch of ornaments.
Yeah, that is cool.
And so like every year there's like a big drug trade that goes down because they're using the tree. And it's like, oh, we have a service comes in and like sets up the tree, the ornaments, you know, and another company, unbeknownst to them, comes in and takes them away. And that's actually the drop in front of everybody. Could be cool. Kind of silly.
Yeah.
But it works, you know, in like a silly way.
Yeah.
All the ornaments are full of cocaine and they just start smashing them. Or Kyle smashes an ornament into Dugan's son's face and he ODs on cocaine.
And he's just like, oh, he's just like, it's like that Tropic Thunder when Jack Black throws the drugs in the guy's face.
Yeah.
He's like, quick, we only have 4 hours until they wake up.
Yeah. That is funny. Like it being drugs, I think is like both realistic and crazy. And so you have that like heightened Christmassy kind of thing going on.
I also think that gives the second that Kyle learns that that's what's happened, I feel like that's his weapon in the warehouse. He's just like pokeballing them in the face, just like,
yeah, that would be really
just
funny.
like they're just like immediately like going unconscious from just so much cocaine at once.
Yeah, I do think that is a good little set piece. Reminds me of Tony Stark in Iron Man 3, which is not really that great a movie, but he bought like Christmas ornaments, which it's because Shane Black did Lethal Weapon. He wrote Lethal Weapon, and Shane Black is likes putting Christmas in movies. It's all coming full circle, man.
Oh man,
anyway,
that's crazy. Well, let's wrap this thing up. Let's give it a title and give it a line, and we have our Christmas movie.
Yeah. So
I feel
let's go
like
line first.
Okay. Line
and
first.
Along the lines, which we said a couple throughout this that were pretty good.
Yeah, I liked the oh man, what oh we I'm praying like I pray for you when I'm back at home or something.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
So yeah, that's like the kid
And then
when they're like, I don't know, it's
I mean, that could be at like a midpoint shift where the kid, they have like a falling out, or before they have a falling out or whatever. They patch up some sort of argument. But then at the end, he could be praying. What is it? Sam is going in and out of consciousness because he's been shot and he hears the son praying for him. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Yeah.
In character.
So I think the line specifically is that midpoint where he tells him, he's just like, hey, me and my mom go to church. And she taught me when I was younger to pray for you. And at first it was just because she was asking me, but like I do it because I want to. I know things aren't easy for you here, but I'm praying for you, Dad.
And then Sam says, save your prayers.
Line.
Save your prayers.
It could be that, but I do like that being a moment where a beat where he like sees his son slightly differently, like more mature than he was expecting.
That's fair.
And more like he doesn't deserve the prayers. So I like that as the line. I think that's a cool line. I think there's a lot of funny lines too that we could always do, but if that's the line, what is our title for this piece?
Good question. Good. Let's see. Well, we have now a series of drug ornaments, or drug smuggling / exchange type thing. So if we can, we can tie in that to some degree, slash, I don't know. I mean, like the Christmas titles for movies are always around the same kind of things, like the songs or the decorations or the lights or something like that. So let's see. We have a detective.
Yeah, I feel like something hokey is like holiday heist or something like that.
Yeah,
feels very hokey.
Yeah, we can do better than that. Although it's almost funny because it's so obviously in line with those movies. But I would, gosh, about the central relationship as well. You'd want to kind of pull that in.
Yeah,
and it needs to be really short.
You could call
like a single word.
Yes.
I think would be something like elf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like the ornament, or something like that, because it is centered around the ornaments. I feel like it's a little clunky title wise. Feels like it's just it's not as simple as elf.
It's not as simple as elf. Tinsel also kind of works. Oh man, I'm trying. I mean, this is where my Christmas lore is drying up.
Oh no, he's used all the Christmas lore. It is tricky. I think Christmas movies do fall into this, like titling Christmas movies. I think is tricky just because it feels like they're all taken up. A Christmas movie feels like it needs one of the distinct Christmas things in the title, or Christmas in the title.
Yes.
Christmas caper, Christmas crime, Christmas in Crimesdale. Maybe that's the town. That's the town.
Crimesdale.
That's actually funny. I kind of like it. That's kind of really funny to me. Christmas in Crimesdale. Welcome to Crimesdale is wins the award for most Christmas spirit every year. They're like, yeah, they need something to hope for.
That is
that's
very
funny.
Man,
what town? That's like Sam says that at some fair. He's like, what town has so much crime that they legally changed the name to Crimesdale?
Well, it would be like the nickname of it. It would really be like Timesdale or something. And they're like, oh, you mean Crimesdale? I feel like that's probably.
Yeah. I feel like that's dude. I'm being sold enough on that. But if you want to keep searching, I'm happy to keep searching too. Christmas in Crimesdale is really funny.
Yeah, it doesn't fall in any of the emotional any aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's just that there's crime. It is very funny though. I mean,
yep, I know.
Does
Christmas with the Cranks pull in any emotional stakes with them?
I mean, at least it has the family. Then
it does have the family. What's their name? Wayne. Wayne is Manor. Their name. Wayne Manor.
Something with snow could also work if it's cocaine.
No,
let's just think for a second. I
think snow is the best lead we've got.
Agreed. So I do like the idea of snow, and just looking up snow terms here, ones that I haven't really heard before. There's actually a lot of snow-based terms, but Snowbank was the one that jumped out at me. So I don't know, maybe just because it's the tree itself is full of cocaine. It's the snowbank.
Well, yeah, snow. So is Snowbank just a bank of snow in real life? Like on the side of the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that could work because it's like their warehouse is the snowbank. Like it's the cocaine drugs smuggling thing. I think that could work. Snowbank. Snowbank is a
and
title.
We could subtly hint at this as well, that the tree is covered in these ornaments that have all of this cocaine in it, but the tree itself is flocked too, so it's a big snow thing. So the term snow is being thrown around, and maybe there isn't any snow in this town. That's why they flocked the tree. Like it's just known for not getting any snow. So it's just another way of like the only thing that would be the snow is the cocaine.
That would be funny if like there was an explosion and like this one tree is covered in snow, and they're like this like really naive family walks up. They're like, "Oh, it's snow," and the dad it's like shaking, and the dad puts his tongue out and immediately passes out. He's like, oh.
Mommy, or just like I imagine that the tree explodes, the tree that has all the ornaments and stuff that somehow has like explosives underneath it, and we've jumped the shark here, people, but it explodes and there's snow goes everywhere in the town, and townspeople come out and they're like, "Oh, it's snowing," and then they're just like, "Ah!" And
then everyone's hopped up on cocaine.
yeah.
There could be a joke somewhere in there, but guys, I think that's it. I think we've got Snowbank, we got the line, If you have more ideas for this story, if there's things you liked or you want to share, comment on the video you're watching. If you're watching the video, send us emails with the show notes in the description of this podcast or the video. Give us likes and subscribes. It helps us out, and ratings, all that stuff. You know how things work.
Yeah. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope it's a wonderful holiday season, and stay away from exploding trees. We will catch you guys. We will see you guys in the new year. Catch you guys later.
See ya.
Thank you all for listening to StoryFellas, a part of the Pemmican Studios podcast network. Check out our show notes for bonus material, links, and more. To find out more about our current projects, send us messages, and suggest ideas for the show, go to storyfellaspodcast.com. If you liked what you heard, share the show with a friend. Word of mouth is the best way to grow this community. Until next time, go make and break those stories.